There's a formula to it. A very simple formula.
What an excellent day for an exorcism.
From the prime time, bitch!
Don't you blame the movies. Movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos more creative.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Horror Thoughts. I'm Scott. I'm featured with my co-host Sean, and today we will be talking about some death sequences that we love. It won't be another top 5. I'm sure y'all are tired of those, but it will be just a list of death sequences, deaths in movies that, for me, I made my list on ones that stuck with me. The first time I saw them, I couldn't forget them. That's my criteria. But what's your criteria, Sean? How do you pick your death sequences?
Different ones for different reasons, which, I mean, we can get into when we get into them, because maybe it's for like a special effect, maybe it's for whatever reason, but I suppose it kind of is the same as yours, where if it's memorable and stuck with me.
Yeah, my whole list, as I was writing them down, I started writing some for, I was like, these effects are cool, this like cool idea, but they all ended up just going back to like a nostalgia thing where I can remember how I felt the first time I saw that death, where it just shook me. Like, for example, I wrote The Omen, where that nurse hangs herself. I saw that as a little kid, and to this day, anytime in any movie they show someone hanging, it makes me completely uncomfortable. I can't watch it. There's not much in movies that make me turn my head, but when I see someone about to hang themselves, I can't watch it solely because of that one death.
Yeah, no, that's a really intense and cool sequence. I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
So a good place to maybe start, because I'm sure you have at least one, but I think just talking about the Friday the 13th series in general, because that was known for its deaths almost more than anything. And so that one would have like several that would kind of be on my favorite list, just to kind of list them off real quick. I love the shish kebab kill in part 2 with the couple in the bed. The kill in Jason X, when he takes the woman and puts her face in that like nitro freeze or whatever that is.
The liquid nitrogen stuff.
The liquid nitrogen, yeah, and just freezes her and just smashes her. That's super cool. The bed kill in Freddie versus Jason.
Oh,
when he grabs both sides of the bed and just yoinks.
That's a brutal one.
Him up. And then I would also say the tent from the reboot, when he roasts the woman over the fire while her boyfriend trapped in a bear trap has to watch.
Oh, yeah, that's
sorry, but
no, you're good.
Another great one is the wheelchair guy who takes the machete to the face and then rolls down the stairs.
There's the reboot. I had never really sat. I maybe watched it when it came out, but it had been years since I sat and watched it. And last weekend I had my wife and I sit down and we watched every Friday the 13th. I was like, she'd never seen them. So we just sat and for like 3 days straight, we just watched them. And when it got to the reboot, I forgot how insane the first 20 minutes of that movie is with kills and how brutal it gets. And the tent one's definitely up there. For me, I would say my favorites, the liquid nitrogen one, that's a classic. I think that's on everyone's list. It's getting the face smash. I really like, even though they don't show anything, unfortunately, is in part 5 with the head shears where he stabs them through her eyes and then breaks them.
Yeah.
That one's brutal. That back to back with the belt around the tree to crush the skull, that one's pretty brutal. And I don't know why. I think it's the actress that makes me like it so much, and Jason takes a boat for 45 minutes and then strolls through Manhattan. There's that one kill on the boat where they're in like that little dance hall and he chokes that girl. And the way he just throws her lifelessly to the ground, that one, I don't know why that one sticks to me so hard, but that's a good one.
And from that same movie, punching that dude's head off.
Let me take your best shot. And then one shot. There's now that I've watched them all back to back, there's a lot of good kills that you forget about through the series. Like you brought up the wheelchair one. I forget about that one every time, but that's such a good kill. The way he hits and it just rolls all the way down.
No, yeah, the series, and clearly that was a priority over most other things, was we had to figure out cool and creative ways to kind of keep this fresh. Which is cool, and there's a lot of neat effects, a lot of I don't know if there's a lot in that series that I would sort of say is like scary or like, ooh, that unnerves me. Like there are a couple. It's mostly just, oh, that's just cool.
Yeah.
That's just rad and fun. But that's kind of what Friday the 13th is.
The reboot, I can say there weren't a lot of the other ones, like you're saying, you kind of watch the movies, they're not, I guess, scary as much as they're kind of cool. You're like, yeah, look at this one and this one. The reboot, there's some in that one where I'm like, okay, that was horrific. That was
Yeah.
terrifying to me. Like the death sequence of that girl who's in the lake
Mm-hmm.
and he's just standing on the shore would be so terrifying because you're either I can stay out here and drown and or I can swim to the shore and he's going to get to me. And I thought that was so menacing of him just standing there, just waiting. Like she'll either drown or she'll swim to the shore.
Yeah.
That would...
I think I read, and this could be wrong because I don't remember the source, but that is how that scene was supposed to play out originally. You know how it is in the movie, she swims like under a dock and then he stabs her so that we can get another tit shot. But I think how it was supposed to play originally is that it would have cut away from her to like, you know, the other characters doing their thing, and it would have cut back and it would have been nighttime and they were just still in the same spot.
That would have been
Her
so
in the lake,
awesome.
and eventually she just would have like drowned, I assume, and that just Jason hadn't moved.
That would
no
be
matter which
so...
way she went, Jason just followed her.
That's what I wanted. That would be so cool. I wish they would have done that because that was the terrifying part to me, was when she was out there, like you can't go anywhere. You're stuck. And you kind of just have to pick lesser of two fates. Like, what do you want? Would you rather drown to death? Would you rather go get stabbed by this guy?
And it was a cool change of pace because in like earlier Friday movies, particularly where he's supernatural, he just would have gone in the lake and grabbed her.
Yeah, when he just what is that part 6 where he just barrels off into the water?
Yeah, I think that's 6.
Like he just completely just keeps walking until he covers his head, and you're like, "Are you serious?"
And then it's just whoop.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Friday the 13th has some good death sequences.
Ooh, speaking of part 6, that one's got the good one where he takes that sheriff and he just bends him completely over backwards.
Oh my god, yeah. That's another one I forget about. That was such good effects for that kill too.
And it's like a nothing effect because like that actor's just standing in a hole and then just does this. And then they have another dude like just hanging down there with his legs sticking out.
It looked
like it's
so
the simplest
brutal.
thing. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. Friday the 13th, I would think has the best kills if you're talking about death sequences, because that was their whole MO, was like how ridiculous and insane can we make our kills.
Yeah, as I was going, because I was just sort of going through my movie collection and trying to think about it. And I was like looking at Halloween and I was sort of like, there aren't a lot of cool deaths in Halloween.
No.
Like that's not really what I go to Halloween for. There was only one from Halloween that I really wanted to mention, and that's Bob's death in the first movie, where, and it's not even necessarily that the kill is cool, but it's just, you know, Michael sticks him against the wall, but it's the camera or just the scene staying there as Michael just sort of looks at the body curiously. Like that's something that's so unsettling, because a lot of great deaths, they have sort of the suspense and the buildup, and then you get the kill, and then like it's super quick. As soon as the kill happens, you're out. And I like that kill sort of stays in the scene and sort of just sits there for a minute.
Yeah, that one's definitely brutal. The only one I could think of that I don't even know if necessarily be a death sequence, but it has to do with death, is the end of part 4. The twist at the end of part 4 with the little girl. Yeah. I like that ending. It's that twist. Yeah. I don't think there's really much of a sequence to it, but that's the only death that I'm not the biggest Halloween guy, and that's kind of the only one that sticks with me in my head that I can remember when I saw it going like, oh shit, that's crazy.
Well, and then 5 ruined it. So
yeah. It's after 4, you're like, that's promising. And then 5 happens, and you start getting into the cult of Thorn and all that stuff. You're like, oh, and then there's Busta Rhymes or whoever it was in the movie.
Busta.
Yeah.
Well, and then like that mom didn't even die. That's one of the big things they reveal in 5 is they have like a line where like, oh, she stabbed her, but like she's fine.
Yeah.
She's alive somewhere. It's like, what? No.
Yeah, we're just gonna pass that off. Yeah.
She's dead.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Halloween didn't have the best death sequences. Of course, we're talking about death sequences in a series, Nightmare. That's the whole movie. It's just insane death sequences.
The two highlights for me that I wrote down are both from the first one. And that would be Tina's death scene when she's getting dragged up the wall, and then Glenn's death scene when he gets sucked into the bed and just the torrent of blood comes out.
I like so many. I like those. I like in Dream Warriors when he's walking him like a puppet. That one I think is so brutal looking. A lot of people really like in 5 when they do the motorcycle kill. I don't like that one.
Me neither.
I'm trying to think of ones that people think are popular. I think the one where he turns her into a roach, I think in part 4, and he goes in that bug hotel. She starts melting and ripping apart.
Yeah.
It's got Friday's got some wicked cool ones. The first 2 you mentioned are definitely probably the most iconic, I would think. And Johnny Depp getting sucked into a bed. And Tina, I'm assuming you like in New Nightmare when they show the death sequence of Tina, where it's like up the wall and you can see Freddie dragging her. Do you like that part?
When they killed Julie, the babysitter. Yeah, it's a cool, like, fun, like, throwback. And I like the added element of this kid just having to watch it and Freddie sort of like mocking him as he's doing it, which I thought was a fun way. Like, it's not as scary or as intense as it is in the original.
Yeah.
But I think it's a fun sequence and a fun little throwback. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. Sometimes I see it and I'm like, that's kind of cool. And sometimes I don't know. I'm really hit or miss with that scene. I think sometimes it looks like really cheesy. I don't really like the Freddy in that movie. He looks kind of cheesy.
I do. I like the trench coat and the kind of the crazy exaggerated makeup.
Yeah, maybe it's the makeup. I've tried to like put a pinpoint on it. Like, I can't figure out why. There's just something about the look of it where I'm like, I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, I think they were trying to make him look less like a burn victim and more like kind of just some sort of monster, because it's not supposed to be the character Freddy Krueger, but something else that simply likes that form. It's a weird movie.
Yeah.
I will say a lot of the nightmare deaths are cool and impressive from a technical standpoint, a lot of really neat special effects and stuff like that. But honestly, past part 2, they get a little too over the top for me. Like, I like the Puppet Master one that you mentioned from part 3. That one was crazy and creative, but still really intense and weird and like creepy. But a lot of them just get too silly. Like you mentioned the motorcycle one and the one where he's like feeds the girl to death. And also in 5, the comic book death in 5.
You didn't like the comic book death? I thought super Freddy. Now, I hate that whole buildup. It's funny we're talking about death sequences. I literally hate that entire sequence, but I think the effect is really cool at the end when he slices him and all the color runs out of him and drips to the floor. That's like the opposite of this whole list. The whole sequence is terrible, but the kill at the very end is cool.
No, like the effect is impressive. Like all the effects of this stuff are impressive. For me, it goes way too silly and way too big.
Yeah. Well, what's some one-offs that you have jotted down that not necessarily from a big series, but kills that you could remember seeing in films where they just shook you, they caught you off guard? You're like, oh my God.
The big one, well, not necessarily the way that you just put it.
Oh, well, yeah, whatever. That's how I made my list. However you made yours.
But a death scene that really stuck out to me that I really love is in American Psycho, Jared Leto's death, because the buildup to that is so just weird and off, as like Christian Bale's character is like playing like Phil Collins music, and he's like slowly like weirdly dancing around, and he's putting on like the raincoat and like putting all the stuff down for the blood spatter, and it's such a silly weird scene. And then just the switch happens so fast when he's just like, hey, and Jared Leto turns around and then acts, or like however it happens. It's such a fun, crazy, weird sequence.
Yeah, that is an odd movie, but the death sequences isn't. They are kind of like you're saying. They're kind of odd. I don't know how to explain them. Like the dancing around and stuff. It's unnerving for whatever reason to see that happen.
It's a really interesting tone.
Yeah, it's the tone of it is what makes it really unnerving. Like I have one on my list that I think it's more of like it's the same thing, kind of odd and tony, whatever. But did you ever see Poughkeepsie Tapes?
No.
So there was kind of a meme going around about it a couple years ago, but there's this kill, spoiler to anyone who hasn't seen it, but there's she's like bound up and like it's like a camera just on her, so you can see like half her face, and then behind her, it's in black and white, super grainy. It's supposed to be like found footage, and he's crawling towards her, but like he's got a mask on the top of his head, so as he crawls, he's kind of crawling all contorted and stuff, and it lasts for 30 seconds, and he's just slowly coming towards her, but she can't see and you can. And the part of it that makes it so creepy to me is that it's a home video. He's supposed to be like a home video killer, so he'd be doing all of this extravagant stuff just for himself, like to watch later. It's not for any other sake than his own of being like, yeah, look how creepy I looked and look how I snuck up. And that's the same thing where it was just so odd, but the tone of it, the fact that he was filming it for himself was the part that like made me feel so gross, because you could easily just walk up and kill her, but he wanted to make it super theatrical for himself.
That's cool. No, I haven't seen that. I don't want, you said it was found footage, and I tend to avoid found footage stuff.
They make it so it's like half found footage, half it's like a documentary talking about the found footage, essentially. So yeah, it was kind of a cool twist on it. It wasn't full found footage. It was them making a documentary, in quotes, about finding the footage of this killer. And so they showed clips of the footage they found, and it's a really creepy movie.
It's cool. Another one I've got is actually a really recent one, from Fear Street, the Netflix thing that came out this summer. And there's a scene where they're in like some kind of store, and a character, like her head just gets fed through a bread slicer.
Oh my God.
And it's so brutal and so cool.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I have not seen any of the Fear Streets. That sounds terrifying.
Oh, it was so cool. And I was reading about the movies, and like the crew was questioning the director about it, because they were like, this isn't going to work. Like a head wouldn't go through that. And so they put a watermelon through it to like test it to see like what would happen. And the watermelon just got demolished by the bread slice. And they were like, okay, I guess we're doing it now.
That's crazy. I would have never thought using a bread slicer as a murder weapon. That sounds brutal.
It's so good. And the movie, the movies are gory, and they have a lot of kills, but there's nothing like super over the top. They keep it pretty restrained. And that's in the first one. And that's sort of the big sort of payoff for not having a lot of death scenes in that first one, is they give you a really good one at the end.
Yeah, I've been meaning to see. I always see them, and I'm like, next time I'll click on them next time. I've just never tried it. I really need to watch them. One that I guess you're talking about, not necessarily gory, but that style. And I just did a whole episode talking about this one. My podcast is Hostel, because that was like one of the first movies I saw that ever stuck with me, because I was 10 when that came out, and I was like, oh my God, like I've never seen gory movies before like this. This is crazy. And there's the first kill where one of the friends, he gets locked up, and you're not really sure why he's there. And he the way they build it is just so slow. Like they drill through the tops of his knees. And like, oh my God, that looks painful. And then he's like begging, like, please, let me go. And the guy goes, you want to leave? Okay, you're free to go. And he lets him stand up. And as soon as he stands up, he just slices his Achilles, and the effects on it. The effect is so cool and gnarly, because you just see him crumble. And as he's crawling for the door, and in your heart, you're like, they're not going to let him out of this room. But you're hoping, you're like, he's so close, maybe. And then the dude just shuts the door, and it just goes to black. Like, oh my God. It's like a minute long. And as a kid, you're seeing that. It blew my mind. It's like all the other movies, you watch Friday movies or whatever. There's some gore, but a lot of times there's a lot of cutaway kills too. You don't see them, they're off screen. This one was kind of like in your face. You're going to watch all this happen. And I thought that was a really cool sequence.
Well, and all those Friday films got cut to bits by the ratings board where they filmed gorier stuff and it just all got cut out. And because
I'm sorry.
Sorry, go ahead. I was just going to say that because it was the 80s, there was no way to really preserve that. They didn't do unrated cuts back then.
Yeah, I was going to say that's what's so unfortunate. I was watching like little documentaries about the films and stuff, and they all touched on like they cut so much of the movies out, which is unfortunate because I bet there were some really cool effects.
Yeah, and that footage is just gone because no one thought to do anything with it back then. It wasn't until I think Jason Goes to Hell that they thought about doing 2 different cuts. Of course, that movie got it. The movie I don't want to watch.
I mean, Jason Goes to Hell, that's the one, if I'm thinking right, they all start to run together, but that's the one where he throws an elbow and crushes that lady's jaw into her face, right?
Yeah.
That's a cool death. I like that one.
Yeah, and there's a cool effect where the couple's having sex and he just like rips that girl in half.
Yeah.
While she's still on top of the guy. No, there's some cool deaths in that one.
Oh, we didn't even touch on talking about Friday deaths. That's the same one, right? Through the tent where he shoves the spike through the tent and rips her up completely. Okay, yeah. That's a really good death. That's a good one.
And the sleeping bag kill is, of course, a classic from 7 when he just slams the girl against a tree and just dead.
What do you think about the Jason X mocking of it whenever they're playing?
That's such a fun scene.
Yeah.
That's one of the only scenes in that movie that I like genuinely like, okay, this is the right amount of corny and silly and still fun.
Yeah, that one's very hit or miss. I was watching something on it and half the people were like, yeah, that was so cool. And the other half were like, I hate this movie. I hate everything about it, especially the sleeping bag scene.
Aw.
That's yeah, I forgot about that one with the pole through the back and then ripping her in half. That one's pretty gnarly. Talked about another I know you don't like found footage, but I guess as we do these lists, I guess I like found footage films. I never thought I did, and then we do one, and every list I've got like 2 of them on there. But in the original Blair Witch, at the very end, have you seen that?
No.
So at the very end, spoiler for everybody who hasn't seen it, it's been out 22 years. That's on you at this point. At the very end, she finally is running through this house. And at the beginning of the movie, when she's doing the documentary on the witch, they go into the lore about it. And she used to make the children stand in the corner facing the wall while she'd kill the other children. That was the whole thing. So if you'd see people standing in the corner, you knew that you were probably next. And at the very end, she's lost her friend. She doesn't know where they are. She's running. It's all shaky and panicked and terrified. And she comes down the stairs and she sees her one friend and he's standing in the corner, just facing the wall. And then she yells his name and then just bam, just gets hit. Camera drops, shuts off. But it's this whole buildup of running through this house for a minute looking for this guy. And she can't find him. There's all this noise and stuff attacking her. And then she finally comes downstairs and he's just standing in the corner. You're like, oh shit, she's dead. All that work for nothing.
Yeah. So my list, I've only got well, technically 2 more, but they're from the same series. And if you have more, we can go into those as well. So one is from Scream 2, which is, I know you don't like part of this sequence, but it's Jada Pinkett Smith's death in the theater. I think that's such a good setup, and it's such an intense, crazy thing of like, there are all these people here, and yet the killer can still do it and kill her. And it's so brutal. And all these people are like kind of participating in it because they think it's some crazy publicity stunt. So they're all into it and cheering as she's just slowly dying.
Yeah.
Which is great. And of course, and I think this is my favorite death scene, which is Casey Becker in the original Scream, Drew Barrymore's character. And a lot of that, kind of like you were saying with Blair Witch, is the buildup, because like the kill itself is just like she gets stabbed, but like the buildup of it is so great, and like just how the tension sort of ratchets up and up and up. I think that's just an excellent sequence.
Yeah, sequences like that, I think, are what stand the test of time with horror. I like to take. I use my wife as a big example because she never really watched horror movies at all, and so when I show her classic movies or show her like Scream, and I can see, even though it's 20 years old, 15 years old, whatever, and she's still watching that opening scene, like leaning forward to the TV, like, oh my God, like that same feeling that I remember getting the first time I saw it. I love that feeling. Or seeing like the Kevin Bacon kill in the original Friday the 13th. I remember when my wife saw that, she was like, oh my God. It's like, even though it's been 40 years, that sight or that death still means something. Like if you watch Fridays or Nightmares rather, to this day and age, you kind of watch and like, that's kind of cheesy looking. You can get how people wouldn't really care about them. But then there's certain death sequences that I feel like stand through time that always affect people the first time they see it.
That first Nightmares, I think, holds up really well effects wise. The only effect that I don't think does that comes across as cheesy is the arms.
Yeah, I
The
don't
long
like
arms.
that one.
That's the only effect that doesn't work. And you can like almost see like the things that they're holding the arms with. It's a very goofy effect, but everything else I think still looks really good.
Well, you're missing the best effect in any of the movies, and that's the very end, the Bob Shea special.
Oh, the doll. Yeah, that's right. I forget. I pretend that scene doesn't happen sometimes. I'm like, oh right, the ending. It sneaks up on me too every time where I'm like, oh right, this bullshit.
Yeah, I forgot that they did this. They pulled a mannequin through a window. Yeah. This whole great movie, they ended it with this capstone. The last one I have on my list, well, I got two, but one of them I know for a fact, unless you've seen it recently, but Hereditary, I don't think unless you've seen that one.
Not yet. I need to.
So I'm going to leave that one off because that one's still
okay.
Newer. But the other one that still gets me to this day is the opening death in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I love that kill. You talk about the buildup. He walks through the door.
That's the guy, right? Who gets the hammer to the head?
Hammer. Yeah.
Okay.
So we were talking about build up to that one. I remember as a kid watching it, I had asked my dad about it. And he said that came out when he was a kid. He's saying it's so scary and all this. And some of these things. So one day I got the courage to finally watch it, and I'm watching it, and it's just taken forever. I'm like, they pick up this hitchhiker, whatever. I don't care. Like nothing's, no one's dying. There's no chainsaws. What is this?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he's looking, and you got this loud generator in the background that's just this constant droning. And then all of a sudden this door slides open, and this dude's wearing someone's face, and one hit, fuck. You see the guy shaking, and you can hear his body hitting the door, and then the door just slams shut. Oh, that sequence is they built it so long. You're like, when is something going to happen? They're at a creepy house. They're by themselves. Something's got to happen. It's been 20 minutes. Nothing's happened. And then all of a sudden it happens.
No, yeah, that's a great one. And like you said, like the little like tremors his body does, like the convulsions he has. It's so creepy. And then his girlfriend gets it really good too, getting placed on the hook.
Oh, yeah.
And it takes a while for her to die.
Yeah. The little twitches are fantastic. That's why I like the Crispin Glover kill in Final Chapter. He does like just a little twitch after he gets the fucking
meat cleaver,
the cleaver to the face.
Yeah.
Those little things are like such good touches on kills, I think.
Yeah. I think the one in that movie that gets me the most is the guy that gets killed through his testicles.
I don't remember.
Whatever. So the girl's in the lake, and she's in like the little boat, naked naturally, and she gets stabbed. Her boyfriend goes to check on her, and Jason grabs him with something, but like on his nuts.
Yeah.
I don't know what he uses, and I don't even know how that dude dies, because Jason just lifts him up by the testicles, and I think it cuts away.
Hopefully
he might have lived. He's not okay, but he might not be dead.
Is it part 3 when they get the guy who's doing the handstand and he hacks him?
Oh, that's right. That goes right to the crotch too, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's the first one I thought you were talking about. I'm like, yeah, unfortunate for that guy. Then he places him up in like the banister of the house for whatever reason. as the movies go on, Jason gets super theatrical with his kills. It's like, hey, man, you started out as a killer. Now he's like setting up props. He's hiding. Can you imagine? He's got to be hiding under stuff for an hour. Like, I'm going to get it so good. Like, I can't wait till he goes to bed.
And he's so big too. So he's always got to like find something.
And you got to think, he's been under this bed while they've been having sex for however long. So he's just having to sit there while he's just sex is going on top of him. And then he's finally like, is she gone? Sweet. Let me stab this guy now.
My sister and I, we watched a few of them because there was a recent Friday the 13th. And we were joking. It's so funny because the other thing they do, Mrs. Voorhees and Jason, is throw bodies through windows. Which Jason is like, sure, he's a supernatural being.
Yeah.
What is Mrs. Voorhees benching? She is tossing bodies through the windows. It's like, what does she bench?
Dude, I've never thought about that. That's so funny, actually, to think that lady was just yeeting grown men through windows.
Because like every other kill, she like plays to her stealth, and it works and makes sense because she's unassuming, so she can get close enough to like stab or do whatever. And so she's kind of doing like a ninja kill kind of thing. But then at the end, after Alice, she's like going through brute force. And it's like, it's not a shock she gets her head chopped off.
She had one more push. She's like, I'm almost dead. I'm old. I got one more shot at this. I'm using every strength I have. She probably, even if she would have got her head cut off, I bet after she killed Alice, she would have just died from exhaustion. She's like,
just falling over,
just collapsed. She's like, yep, that's all my old ass has got. I just threw
I just watched a fan film on YouTube. I forget what it's called, and I don't want to like make fun of them because like it's a fan film. Who cares?
Is it the new one? Because I had one pop up on my YouTube that was like a Friday the 13th 2021 fan film.
I think it's new. Yeah, I think so. But spoilers for this fan film. Part of the plot is, Jason is doing his thing as like a zombie resurrected guy, but then Mrs. Voorhees also gets up and starts killing as like a zombie, but like without her head. And so It's just this like headless old lady running around killing people.
Dude, that's awesome.
It was so funny.
I'm gonna have to go watch that shit.
They got a couple of the actors back to play like little cameo roles, which was fun.
Yeah, I mean, they got nothing else going on. They're probably like, finally, someone asked me. I haven't done anything since the New Blood, so
can't do conventions.
Can't do conventions.
So fan films.
It's really hard to sell being the fourth lead in the New Blood when there's no conventions going on. That's funny. Some good death sequences. Yeah, I need to watch that Fear Street. I've always see it. I just have never clicked on it.
Do you want to switch into news? I don't have very much, but a news segment.
No news. Let's see. I've got
a few things.
Sorry. Yeah, you can go. I don't got anything important. Whatever you got.
Okay, so the big thing, and obviously this will be a little off because this episode it will come out in like a week or two or whatever. But Candyman's out this weekend. Candyman Reboot. That's the sort of the big horror thing going on right now. I haven't seen it yet, and I know we might do an episode on it once we've seen the new movie. And you still need to see the original, right? Yeah,
so I need to see the original, and I'm going, I believe, September 5th to see it. I have a date for it already. It's like the 4th or the 5th or something.
Yeah, and I think I might see it today. And so if it's interesting enough, we might do an episode on that. Other thing, because we were just talking about it, I watched Fear Street recently, which we're like a couple months behind on that, but it's really good. And I'm probably going to do a YouTube video on that will hopefully be up before this episode goes up. The other two big pieces of news, not big, Blumhouse is doing something with Amazon Prime, and it's called Blumhouse double feature, where they are going to be producing these sort of double feature packages for Prime.
Sweet.
Which, yeah, we'll kind of see what that's like. Hopefully they'll also do like a drive-in kind of deal with them, because I don't really see what the point of a double feature on a streaming service is.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I don't really get it, but we'll see how that goes. And AMC, the network, not the theater chain, announced their yearly Fear Fest marathon that's going to run October 1st through the 31st. They say that it's going to be like 80 something movies.
Jesus.
I don't have cable anymore.
Yeah, I don't either.
So I'm not going to watch it. And like, I stopped watching that even when I still lived with my parents and had access to cable, because it's like, you have to deal with commercials. You have to deal with censoring. And so it's like, I could just do my own thing. And like, I loved Fear Fest when I was a kid and like discovering this stuff because it was a fun way to sort of find movies. But when they're sort of just doing all the stuff I've seen already, but it's all cut up to bits and I have to sit through 10 years worth of commercials, it's not really worth it.
Yeah. That's crazy. I was thinking, I have a nephew who's 13 and nieces that are younger than him. And I was thinking, I'm like, they've never sat through commercials, like legit sat through commercials before.
Yeah, like maybe like ads on like Hulu or YouTube, but like 30 seconds.
Yeah, but like they've never had to plan a show like where they're watching the show and they're like, I gotta pee so bad, I can't pause it. I gotta go to the restroom. And as soon as it hits the commercial break, you're running to the restroom, or the kitchen or whatever you're trying to do, and then hoping you make it back before it starts. And that's kind of crazy to think that they've never had to do that, or seeing the same commercial over and over and over to the point where you had to memorize. You could just recite the commercials. It's crazy.
And it felt like they would never go away.
Yeah. No,
like,
you'd think.
I'm sure you've seen this one. I used to see it all the time when I would watch Metal Mania on VH1 Classic. It was for some kind of dog charity thing. And this like song would play where like In the Arms of an Angel, whatever.
ASPCA. Yeah.
Yeah. Nonstop for years.
Oh, we used to have one. I don't know if it was regional or not, but it was for this college, some online college. And it would be like, I don't have a job because I don't have any skills. I don't have any skills because I didn't go to school. I can't go to school because I don't have a job. I don't have a job because I don't have any skills. And it would repeat it for like 20 seconds and be like, hi, do you not have a job or any skills because you didn't go to school? Go to DeVry or whatever the hell. I used to hate it because they would play it inevitably like back to back and you just hear it for 2 straight minutes about I don't have a job, so I don't have any skills. And it would just, God, commercials were the worst. Jesus Christ.
Sometimes when I go over to my parents' house, like I'll turn on the TV, like, because we sometimes will do like a Sunday brunch or whatever. And I'll just turn on the TV and like whatever movie's playing on a Sunday.
Yeah.
On the Paramount network or whatever. And it honestly feels like commercials have gotten longer, which I know they probably haven't, but I'm so like used to not having to deal with them that, man, they feel long.
Yeah. It's weird to think like how quick cable TV just kind of dropped off the planet. There was one day we were all watching it, and then now it's like 30-second ad. We watch 30-second ads and we're trying to hit the skip button already. We're
desperately like, fuck off.
I just had to watch 6 seconds of this ad. Are you serious? Meanwhile, 10 years ago, you're like 3 minutes of straight commercials.
Like, all right. Oh man.
Any horror news or anything? I don't have really any horror news. I just talked about my nephew. I'm taking him to his first Kiss concert in September. He's coming up to visit me, and I'm going to surprise him with. He really likes Kiss, so I'm going to surprise him with that.
Cool.
So that
What's
should be
the
fun.
date?
September 17th.
Okay, you should be okay then.
What do you mean?
Paul got COVID.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
God. September 17th. Yeah, that's a month or oh fuck. That's like
the thinking right now is that they'll start back up on the 9th.
Oh.
Paul should be out of quarantine by then, but who knows? You never know with this, but Paul did just get COVID. And they've had to postpone a bunch of dates. And they were on tour for like less than a week.
God, I hope they don't bump the dates. That would like it happened to fall in this perfect window of like he got tickets to come up here. The show is at the same time. It's like that'll be really cool. Dang it. Thank you for telling me. I'd have been so pissed. Get all ready to go to the concert, drive out there and wait, and there's just no one in the parking lot. Like, how early did we get here? And then they're like, oh, it's canceled. That would have sucked. Well, I need to look at that. You're talking about doing Fear Street on your channel. I need to watch those, and something coming up on my YouTube that I've been working pretty tirelessly on. So I really hope it works out. Is like how Hallmark or whatever fuck channel it is does like the 25 days of Christmas thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm doing a thing. It's my 31 days of Halloween, and it's kind. I guess it's. I'm trying to do a horror based episode each day, and I've been cranking them out the last couple of weeks, like filming and editing, and so hopefully it's not for nothing. So people who listen to this show, please go check it out and share. Because I won't lie, it'd be kind of disheartening if I did a month's worth of editing videos and editing, and it's got like 9 views. That might make me cry a little bit. Just one tear.
Cinemassacre did something like, are they like reviews kind of thing?
So some of them are reviews, some are lists, some are talking about directors I like or actors. It's just anything horror related, just different episodes to kind of mix it up.
Yeah, Cinemassacre, James Rolfe, I don't know if he does it anymore, but he used to do that every year. It was called like Monster Madness. And he would do like 31 days of horror reviews.
Oh, thank God. I thought you were going to be like, he already used that name. And I was like, no, like I've already made all the edits and everything. I was about to be so sad. Because I know I used to watch, well, I still watch them, but like Cody Leach and Drum Dums and all them do the 31 on 31, where they rank different series on the 31st. Have you ever watched those? So it's kind of cool because it's Cody Leach, Drum Dums, Brian Lomax, and I can't think of the fourth, but they're kind of, I guess, kind of like what we do is we're 2 separate channels, but we come together for one. So they're all horror and movie based, and they all kind of feed each other's content. And on a couple years ago, it had worked out perfectly. On October 31st, there was exactly 31 Nightmare Friday and Halloween movies. So they called it 31 on 31. And so they all did a separate video ranking their top 31, and they all released them at the same time. And so sometimes then they did another 31 on 31 because there was it was like creature features. So it was like Jaws and Alien and whatever else. It was another group of movies that added up to 31s. I don't know how they managed to like find all these things to add up that way, but they would make these ranking lists and then release them at the same time. And I always like watching those, especially when it comes to Halloween. But if you like watching horror movie reviews and rankings and stuff, those are my 2 favorites. Cody Leach and Drum Dums are really good. But Cinemassacre is good too. I've seen some of his. I can't remember which ones I've seen.
Well, he also does the Angry Video Game Nerd.
I've never seen that.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind then.
Does he like just rage at video games or something?
Yeah, that's his like big thing. His big series is the Angry Video Game Nerd. That's what made him so popular.
Oh.
He just does movie stuff kind of on the side.
Oh, no way. I saw him do a walkthrough of his movie room one time.
Yeah.
And that was crazy. Like seeing all his VHSs and stuff. Jesus Christ.
You should check out because he's done videos. These were like some of his earliest videos. He did a video on the NES Nightmare on Elm Street game and the NES Friday the 13th game. And so those are both pretty fun.
I definitely played the Nightmare on Elm Street one before.
I've played both.
I have not played the Friday one.
The Friday one is like, my brother and I have gotten this close to beating it, like this close. And then we died and we were so mad, but we've gotten this close. It's a tough game.
What's the premise? Are you playing as Jason or are you avoiding Jason?
You're a counselor and your goal is to kill Jason. And so you have like 3 days. Why did I do all of these?
I don't know. That was kind of odd. I've never seen someone do that.
I think it's because I said 3. And so like, thankfully, this is just audio and no one saw that.
I think the whole world should have seen that. That was cool. That took a lot of coordination.
But you have to kill Jason at each end before the end of each 3rd day, or each day ends with Jason needing to die. And so you're like kind of running around the camp trying to like acquire different weapons that will obviously be stronger against Jason, trying to keep Jason from killing these kids because there are kids in different cabins. But the second, if all the kids die, you lose the game.
Oh.
but we managed to kill Jason twice. We got him twice, and then we got axed before we could get him that third time.
Damn, you should do a
It
live stream
sucks.
playing that game. That's what you should do.
I need to, because I can't really do gaming live streams because I don't have like a PC.
Mm-hmm.
Like all I have is this little Mac that I'm on now, which I do need to upgrade because even like I was doing that Kiss ranking video where I ranked all those albums, and that was such a long video. My computer was like, "Stop!"
Yeah,
like, why are you doing this? Like it was. So I need a better system before I can live stream like games, because I would like to do that at some point.
I'm the same, man. I have this Mac and I've live streamed like games that are on my computer, but if I try to run anything through my computer it's just not happening. It's like, yeah, no way, buddy.
And I've seen it on other people because I've never even tried it, but I've seen like Twitch streams where like the person is running through like a Mac laptop, and like there's such a lag.
Yeah.
Because it just can't keep up. And so I'd rather just wait a little bit. I do, because there's a Kiss video game from the late 90s. And so that would be the one I would start with.
I do find if doing your live streams, or if you try to do things like that, I find that if I run a hard Ethernet from my router to my computer, it makes it so much smoother, like during my uploading and stuff and actual streaming. At least my Wi-Fi here, it's kind of spotty. It'll go in and out. And so you'll, in the video of my stream, in the middle of my stream, you'll see the quality go to crap and then get good and then crap. Whereas if I have it hooked in, it's pretty consistent. So that might help you when you're doing those long videos ranking.
Yeah.
However many Kiss related albums there are.
It was 62.
God almighty. When you told me, you're like, I'm going to rank the thing. I'm like, okay, 20 studio albums. Maybe I'll do 24 with the thing. And then you're like, no, every Kiss related album ever. It's like, holy crap. That's gotta be,
it was a lot.
That's insane. Like the amount of, when you said you were doing that, I'm like, the work this man is about to do is otherworldly. That's crazy. But yeah, that about wraps it up. If you want to find me, all my stuff's linked down below, my podcast, my YouTube, all that, and be on the lookout in October, provided everything goes well. I should do my 31 days of Halloween. That's kind of all I got on my horizons. Sean, I don't know what you got planned. I know you said you got Fear Street, hopefully coming.
Yeah. So I've been trying to work ahead. I haven't been uploading much of anything on YouTube the last couple of months. Part of that was that Kiss ranking video we just mentioned. Took a lot of time, but I'm hoping to get back into like a 2 or 3 video a week kind of thing. And Fear Street, I think, will be the first one. Hopefully the first week of September, which is this week. But like it's all written and like ready. I just need to film and edit it. And a whole bunch of other videos as well. I'm doing a couple more horror things. I think I'm going to do a video on the Friday the 13th TV series and the Freddy Krueger one. I'm going to do another Star Wars video. Yeah, no, I got a few things planned. We'll see how it goes.
Are you going to keep doing your live streams a week? Have you been enjoying that?
Yes. Thank you. I know what's going on. Yes, every Tuesday on my YouTube channel, I've been doing a live stream for about like an hour, hour and a half. And so I'll probably keep doing that for a while.
Yeah, I enjoyed. I think it was your first one. I popped in and I really liked. I enjoyed it. It's good when you have it's not so many people that you can't keep up with what's going on, but it's enough constant people that you can have really good conversations.
Yeah, no, it's been fun. I've been liking it.
Yeah, well, all my stuff's linked down below. Sean's stuff's linked down below. You can find it all down there. Check out his YouTube. Check out my podcast, my YouTube, and share this podcast, man. Let's get it going. And you got something to say? Or are you just shaking?
Oh, I was like air drumming.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like had something like super important.
No,
like,
sorry.
He's about to drop a bomb on us right at the end. But yeah, it's all linked down below. So let us know. Send us some comments, some emails. Let us know what you think. Let us know your lists and your favorite death sequences. And if there's any videos you want to hear from us, or videos, any podcasts you want to hear from us, let us know and we will work on it. But Thank y'all for the support. I never know how to close these things out. Peace.